Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Movie Mortis, where Movie Madness lives. This is our podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Drew.
And today we're going to talk about The Exorcist, the very classic horror movie. It is about a girl who gets possessed by a demon and a faith deal. You know what, Drew? Can you describe this movie? I can't speak today. I cannot speak today. You describe this movie.
Okay, so it's about a girl named Reagan who plays around with the Ouija board a little bit at the beginning of the movie, and then gets possessed by the devil, by specifically by a demon called Pazuzu. And so the movie follows her mother as she tries to figure out what's going on and eventually enlists the help of two priests to perform an exorcism on her daughter.
I see. All right. This is a very classic movie. Like, people consider this the greatest horror movie of all time. Like, this is like people say like this is like up there as one of the scariest horror movies there. Well, viewers, here's my general thoughts. I I just thought it was okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. It's just okay.
Well, I didn't think this movie was like the scariest movie I've ever seen. Well, to be fair, it takes a lot to scare me. Okay. I've seen so many horror movies. It takes a lot to scare me.
Yeah.
But I did thoroughly enjoy this movie outside of some slow pacing issues in the first act.
Yeah.
I do think there
That's
are some. That's something that me and Nick will probably agree on. The first
yeah.
act is a little slow,
I didn't
but
really
once like the possession scenes get going, this movie gets going, in my opinion, and it becomes really, really good.
I'll admit I like the possession scenes. Like I thought honestly the most disturbing scene for me was when the demon was making Reagan stab herself with the cross going, "Let Jesus fuck you." Like
Hmm.
that was messed up. Disturbed the heck out of me. I'm like, "Jeez, Louise." And
We also
just
have to remember. We also have to remember too. We are viewing this movie. This was a first time watch for me. I'm assuming it was the same for you,
same.
right?
I've only seen parodies of The Exorcist. I've only seen
Yeah.
parodies.
So you have to remember we're looking at this movie through a 2026 lens.
Yeah.
You have to remember this movie came out in 1973. This was very unique territory back when this movie came out. In fact, Nick, I don't know how much you did as far as like research goes, as far as like the release and everything of this movie, but um, a lot of theaters were actually handing out barf bags to people during screenings of this movie.
Huh.
And there were a lot of people who walked out of the movie because they thought it was gross.
I mean, I can kind of see it, especially as how Reagan just becomes like more demented and rotted over the course, but and maybe just the occasional her vomiting, but I mean, like look, I don't know if age did this well for me. Like for the record, viewers, I don't mind old movies. Okay, I can appreciate an old horror movie like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I absolutely love. I like the first Nightmare on Elm Street, but just the Exorcist, one of those movies I'm just like, eh. Uh,
But
you
were you about to
first.
say something? Oh,
I thought you froze, but you're good. You're good.
no. So I as somebody who's not because Nick, I would like to get your perspective on this on somebody who is a Christian.
Hmm.
Me, I'm not religious at all. Like I'm just not a religious person. I don't necessarily come from both sides of my parents, like they both come from religious families, but religion just wasn't a thing in my house when I was growing up. And so I do want to hear your perspective. How do you think this movie, as a Christian, how do you think this movie portrayed religion and faith and kind of along the same lines? What did you think of the two priests who are central to the plot of this film?
That's a good question. Again, here's the thing: you're not gonna get really a strong reaction out of me for this because, again, I didn't really care for this movie very much, which I've already said that before. But in terms of the priest, I like the second priest very much. Like the dude was just very calm and stoic. Like he was just ready to tackle that demon. Like it even told like the first one, Harris was his name, the first one
Karis.
that's losing his brave. Like the old priest who,
Karis.
Karis.
Karis with a K.
Karis,
Karis.
Karis. That's the one that's losing his faith, right?
Yes.
Okay, but he just told Karis, "Hey, just don't be afraid. Be not afraid." Like that. I don't know why. Like that. I like how that guy just like he's on the freaking cover of the poster for crying out loud. Like he's just ready to go confront that demon. Like I thought he was cool. Like he kept a strong composure. Karis was very interesting. I like the idea of him trying of struggling with his faith, but like I like the scene where Reagan is floating up and everyone's going power of Christ compels. That's when Karis I feel like finally found his faith again. That this God moves in mysterious ways and this could be a work of God, but I thought the ending was weird. Like it just like, oh, if the exorcism didn't work, we'll have to do it again. But this time I'll go there. Like I don't know anything about exorcisms. I think they're kind of interesting, but like I don't know if like movies and pop culture exaggerate everything. And then you got like those Evangelius exorcisms too. But like I'm no religious expert. I'm not a theology expert or a professional exorcist. I mean, if I was, I'd have some cool stories to tell. But anyways, um, like I did think the ending was weird though. Like the exorcism didn't work and the old priest dies, but Karis just kind of beats the crap out of Reagan, or at least the demon possessing Reagan. He's beating the crap out of Reagan's body before going take me, and then getting possessed and jumping out the window. And like the ideas are there in my opinion. Like I like what they were working up with Karis, especially with him struggling with the death of his mother, and then him trying to find faith again, and the one person who actually is trying to who needs help, which is Reagan's mom. He's just like, I'll see what I can do, and I think we might. And he's actually confronting the devil, thinking, oh, I don't even know if this is even a devil or not. But it's not until the old man shows up, he's just like, wow, this is God. This is the miracle of God. Like, because I mean, recently I went back to church, and I talked to a couple preachers to kind of help me figure some, well, not really help me figure some things out, but just it, like listen, for most I did like the idea of having kind of a big mentor who's had more life experience with you kind of help, and that's all I really got to say. I don't know if I answered your question a lot. I kind of rambled on a bit, but that's what I got to say really.
Is it stated at the end of the movie that the exorcism didn't work? Because Reagan seems normal by the end of the
Oh no,
movie.
Reagan's normal, but like the old man has a heart attack, and then freaking like Reagan is still standing there possessed, and the demon unpossesses Reagan, instead takes Karis, and then Karis flings himself out the window. So it just, I'm like, okay, what was the point of the exorcism then?
Well, I kind of view that as because the whole movie. Here's something about this movie. The movie itself. This is gonna sound strange,
Uh huh.
but the movie isn't really about Reagan. It's about everybody around Reagan. It's
Really?
about the priests. It's about the priests, and it's about specifically about Father Karras trying to, because he feels guilty about the death of his mother, of
Mm-hmm.
his mother, right? And I feel like the ending is him atoning for his sins by letting Pazuzu possess him, unpossess Reagan, and possess him in
Hmm.
a almost self-sacrificial type of moment. You
That's
get what I'm
fair.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
And I feel like that's a kind of a culminate. That's a conclusion of his arc, of him finding his faith again.
That makes sense. That
Because in my limited knowledge of Christianity, isn't Christianity all about atonement?
Yes, it is about atonement and
That's
surrendering yourself to Jesus. Yes.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
So so in a way,
sorry.
it's like I think that's what the ending is about. It's about Karras finding his faith again.
Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
atoning for his sins.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely saw that as a movie, a guy finding his faith again. But atonement, that's an interesting way to look at it. And by the way, viewers, I'm not offended because this movie portrays Christian. I'm not offended by this movie at all. And a lot of people think, oh, he just doesn't like it because it, depicts Christianity. No, no, I just couldn't get into it. There's a lot. I mean, I've enjoyed a lot of stuff that has like, demonic, themes and everything. Like not praising demonic beings, stuff like that has like deals with the devils and demons and all everything. But The Exorcist just didn't really hit me. It didn't really hit for me. It's just like, well, that was okay. But yes, I do like the idea. I do like Karras's arc. I do think Karras's arc was weird, even if I thought the ending was somewhat strange. I thought the ending was a little strange. It just kind of made it seem like the exorcism was somewhat kind of pointless. I mean, you see it working where the demon's resisting and she's being floated up. That floating scene. Do you think that was the demon or like actual God, the work of God in the movie? That is.
I tend to believe that that's the demon, Pazuzu.
Yeah, fair, but
I tend to think that everything that Reagan does as she's possessed, or I guess the devil, Pazuzu, that is inside Reagan, that is taking over Reagan, everything that happens with her is the work of Pazuzu.
I
Who,
can
by the
see
way,
that.
no. So for disclaimer, viewers, I do have the 2023 4K Blu-ray release. It includes two different versions of this movie. It includes the original theatrical cut, which is the one I watched, and it includes the extended cut as well.
I think the extended cut's like the version you've never seen before. Admittedly, my library had that, but I honestly could not really see much of a difference between both cuts.
Well, did you watch both cuts?
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I had to get the one that my library had, so cut me some slack. How did the
All
movie
right.
end for you? Like, what? Because I know Reagan gets emphasis video, but in the end of my cut, it had like the detective trying to ask one of the another priest or so, saying he has passes the pictures, the movies. Did that?
Yeah,
Did that?
my cut didn't have that. The theatrical cut didn't have that.
Oh,
That was
okay.
actually something that William Freidkin added in later, or re-edited in later at the behest of. So William Peter Blatty, who wrote the original novel,
Mm-hmm.
he had some issues with the original theatrical cut of this movie because William Friedkin made several cuts at the behest of Warner Brothers, the studio.
Really?
One of those things was part of the ending with that ending scene that you were just talking about,
Mm-hmm.
of the detective asking the those two talking about movies at the end.
Yeah.
That was cut from the film. A rather famous scene that was cut from the film, but then added later in the version you've never seen, and one of the things that a cut I'm actually fine with, but
Mm-hmm.
William Peter Blatty, the author of the original novel, did not like was the backwards spider walk scene.
Oh yeah.
That's not in the original theatrical cut. That was
Hmm.
something that was cut because William Friedkin, as well as the studio, thought that it revealed the demon a little too early. And I agree with that cut.
I
I
mean,
like what
what?
happens in the theatrical version. Reagan comes down during the party and basically pisses on the rug.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that more than the backwards spider walk scene, even though I do think that is kind of cool. It's like I think that cut was fine.
It was honestly, it was very abrupt because like it was very abrupt, honestly. So I agree with that. It just it wasn't that. I mean, it looked cool, but it definitely messed with the pacing. And again, I don't know. I don't know if I would have enjoyed the theatrical version much either because I don't know, the pacing just felt off. The pacing felt really off. I just find it just like we're entering two completely different worlds with Reagan and Karras. Like Karras is kind of dealing with his grief and his faith. Reagan is just being tortured by Pazuzu. It's just okay. This is the weirdest way I can describe this movie. Which hear me out. Okay, follow me on this. There is an episode of Arcane, and it's my least favorite episode of all time. Another hot take incoming, where two of the characters travel to a different dimension. One is where one's like in another dimension where everything's happy and lucky. Another one's like in like a twisted future, and the whole episode is just like cutting between those two worlds, and it just feels so whiplashingly different. And that's how I feel about this movie. Like it's like that one episode of Arcane. And again, this is just me dropping hot takes. I didn't. I didn't like that episode, and you know, I did think it was a little jarring at times. Drew, what do you think?
I disagree with that. Somewhat,
Elaborate.
somewhat. I I didn't mind the contrast between the two people's lives between what's going on with um at the McNeil house and what's going on with Father Karras.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's supposed to show their two different lives. Because remember,
Yeah.
Chris McNeil, Reagan's mom, is a movie star,
Oh yeah.
and she's in this movie that they're filming in Washington D.C., where this movie takes place. And then you have Father Karras, who's dealing with who's caring for his
Crisis of
mother,
Faith
and
and his mom.
yeah, hmm a crisis of faith. I feel like it's one of those things where there's two. This is kind of a basic thing of storytelling where you have two completely different arcs with two different characters, and they come together in the climax.
I guess that's
I
fair.
think it's meant to be two different sort of lifestyles, obviously.
Yeah. I can kind of see it. I can kind of see it. Yeah. Yeah. I guess that makes sense. But but like I said, I mentioned earlier, Reagan kind of suffering was where I feel like the horror of the movie came from. So it came from more just Reagan, like, you know, being thrashed around, having her bed shaken. The doctors, the doctors were weird. Like they're like, oh, it's frontal lobe, get drugs, and it's just like Reagan's getting worse. I don't even know. And it's, I mean, granted, the doctors do recommend exorcism, but they just sound so indifferent to it. And not gonna lie, seeing like medical, seeing all the medical equipment back then made me question medicine back then.
Well, you want to know something kind of strange?
Let's
Did
hear
you
it.
know that when this movie came out, a lot of the walkouts
Mm-hmm.
actually were not from the scenes with the demon and Reagan, but from the medical scenes, from the medical examination scenes,
Damn.
because
Yeah, I'm.
it's a pretty grounded uh, portrayal of medical examinations. I mean, all those scenes are very uncomfortable, and I think that's the point.
Was that where all the horror came from then? The medical scenes?
I mean, the scene where she's getting the needle in her neck
Oh
and the
yeah,
blood coming out.
that scene was probably the most, that scene was definitely the most disturbing for me. That needle in the neck, that was, and just seeing the blood fly out, just like what the fuck?
Yeah,
What is it? What is it?
yeah.
What is this? Does this hospital believe in lobotomies as well?
And I mean, probably not, but
I had to learn about lobotomies in my psychology class. I'm not kidding. Anyways,
anyways,
just yeah, yeah, it just makes me wonder if that's where the real horror came from. All the medical stuff, really. Like,
well, that particular scene with the needle and the blood that did cause a significant amount of walkouts back when this movie came out. So,
dang, makes me makes me wonder if those makes me wonder. No, it's a dumb thought. I had to think about it real quick. It's again, what the heck was going on with medicine in the 70s? Or when does the book
I
take
don't
place?
know. Well, the book came out 2 years before the movie came out,
All
so
right,
71. So that's probably when the book
yeah.
takes place.
I didn't
It
really do a
was
lot of.
so
Go
so
first.
so so an interesting thing about The Exorcist. It's supposedly based on a true story.
Oh, I read about the true story. So you're not mistaking it for the exorcism of Emily Rose, are you?
No,
Okay,
I
both of
don't think
those were
so.
based on true story, but the Exorcism of Emily Rose is more of a law drama and a horror movie, whereas the Exorcism
Mhm.
straight up horror movie. So I did read a little bit about the true story, and supposedly the Exorcism it worked on a random kid, a boy,
Mhm.
but afterwards he lived a fairly uneventful life. Like so, it supposedly worked.
Yeah,
I didn't read.
it was a famous case of an exorcism that I believe happened in St. Louis in 1949
Mm,
to a guy named Roland Doe, I believe is his
yeah,
name.
yeah.
And it was that particular incident that inspired William Peter Blatty to write the novel, The Exorcist.
It was an anonymous boy. Yeah. slipped one of his hands. Yeah, I didn't. I kind of skimmed through it. I skimmed through it. I skimmed through the Wikipedia article on it, and yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about that. It was kind of interesting, and I mean, when I think of exorcism movies based on true story, my mind kind of goes more to the exorcism of Emily Rose, which the story behind that is actually a lot more disturbing than the story behind The Exorcist. The the
All
the,
right.
the true
Well,
story it is, not the production.
yeah. Well, all right. Well, we can talk
Well,
about that when we talk about the exorcism of Emily Rose.
I agree,
Uh,
yeah. But anyways, back to The Exorcist. Drew, you to think of something. I don't know what I can add to this movie. And we're like 20 minutes in.
Come on, man. Okay, so something that I found in my research was we this episode's not the first time we've talked about The Exorcist on
Oh
this show.
yeah,
We
the
talked about
behind
it
the
on the
scenes.
on yeah, we talked about it on the Troubled Productions episode.
Yeah.
Um so as if you've seen that particular episode, you'll know that William Friedkin, was the director of this movie, was, how do we put this? Quite the maniac on set. Um,
The
so
original
he would
author, right?
no, the director.
Oh shit, my bad. I kept mistaken for the author. Anyways, continue.
I know they're both named William. I know.
Oh cool.
So William Friedkin, not William Peter Blatty, William
Mhm.
Friedkin, the director, was a maniac on set, as Ellen Burstyn, who plays Chris McNeil,
Mhm.
describes. He would do things such as shooting guns on set to without warning to get startled reactions from his actors. There was a one incident during one of the possession scenes where where Ellen Burstyn was getting pulled really hard by the stunt coordinator. She was on a harness because I wanted the effect of her getting thrown
Yeah.
back by Reagan's punch. She complained that the stunt guy was pulling her too hard. William Friedkin was like, "All right, well, I won't have him pull you. I'll have him pull you softer." Went up to the stunt coordinator guy and was like, "Pull her harder." And so when they did the next take, she got pulled so hard that she landed on her tailbone and
Ouch.
had to ends up on crutches for the rest of production. Linda Blair, who plays Reagan, the little girl,
Mhm.
um, I believe this was in the same scene actually, where she was getting yanked around in the bed very hard. They had a
Yeah.
harness on her so that they could just yank her around and all that stuff.
Oh.
Well, the straps broke, and she on that scene while they were doing a take of that scene, and she ended up fracturing her lower spine.
Mm.
Yeah. There was also another. So in the third act of this film, where they're in the house and you can see the character's breath, and it's during the last possession scene. So the set of that particular when they were doing that particular scene, the set was refrigerated, intensely
Oh.
refrigerated, so they can get the effect
The cold
of you
breath.
seeing the character's breath. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so everybody got to wear heavy coats, and it's like it was cold on that set. Like we're talking
Yeah.
like below freezing level of cold.
Dang.
Um, the only person who didn't get to wear heavy coats and shit was the little girl, Linda Blair, who was only wearing her nightgown and nothing
Yeah.
else.
And she couldn't
Again,
even. The blankets were ineffective. It sounds like the blankets on her
oh,
bed.
oh, yeah. And on top of that, the prosthetic makeup that she had to wear during those exorcism scenes burned her skin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it was worth it.
Oh, and on the ending scene after
Uh huh.
Father Karras takes that dive out the window,
Yeah.
um, so they were filming a take of that of the one other priest who comes down to as he like takes Father Karras's hand as he dies. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um, um, so when they were doing that scene, William Friedkin, I guess, didn't like the. I want to say this was towards the end of production, so um, William Freidkin was trying to keep the energy up and all that stuff, and they were doing these takes of this particular scene, and William Freidkin just wasn't. He wanted more from his actor, so he just right before they started rolling cameras, he just went up to him and smacked him as hard as he could, and then rolled cameras.
Good
Yeah,
lord.
he literally resorted to slapping his actors when his director toolbox ran out.
That his director toolbox?
Yeah, his director toolbox, his ways of getting the reactions he wanted from the actors. You know,
Lord.
I guess he ran out of blank rounds for his guns. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That must have been hell, no pun intended. Maybe
oh,
wonder
oh,
who was really possessed on set, you know?
oh. And one more thing. This part is just creepy, but
Mm-hmm.
the set that was the McNeil household, where a majority of the movie takes place.
Yeah.
That set caught on fire at one point during
Oh yeah, did like a
production.
bird fly into like one of the lightings and just
Something like that. But here's the real creepy part: the entire set burned down, but the only room that was untouched, like completely untouched,
Mhm.
was Reagan's room.
Wow.
Yeah,
Didn't they have to get actual priest on the set as well?
yeah. They had to get priests to bless the set at one point.
Dang. So when you okay, I actually do have a thing to mention. I admire the
Okay.
practical effects on this movie. Like I admire so for as painful as some of the actors went for stunt work, you gotta admire the practical effects. Like the bed shaking, Reagan kind of being tossed on the bed. Not like being yanked where she's like going back and forth, but like, there's a scene where the bed's shaking and she's just bouncing on the
Yeah.
bed.
Hmm.
Like and just having the bed just be rocked and back and forth so constantly, like, and also the 360 head turn with no CGI.
Oh
that
yeah. Yeah.
that 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 is
That was
iconic. That
that was done. That was done, I believe, with a mechanical version of. They built a whole animatronic of Reagan, and that's what they
Dang,
used for that particular shot.
I wonder if it's in a museum now.
It might be. I don't know.
Huh? Huh? Might as well
Um.
be since it's a piece of movie history.
Yeah,
What
and
about the
the
projectile vomit? Was that like mechanic? Was that mechanical?
I don't remember. I don't remember what they used for that. But I do know that was practical along with everything else. Um. But yeah, I totally agree with you. The practical effects, the even like the effects where you have all the stuff flying around in a room, like all those like records and shelves and everything just flying around.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
that was all done, I believe, with some sort of like blow machine or something. They had some sort of like blow machine to blow everything around,
Yeah.
which was really cool. And the parts for when like the shelves are moving, they put that stuff on
Oh
wires
yeah.
and just
Oh,
moved it.
and the walls cracking during the exorcism.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so yeah, like yeah, just that was like the exorcism itself was me for me it was like the best part of the movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Same here. It's
Yeah.
such a well shot and well um made scene, well choreographed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, just
um,
the old father reciting the prayer, telling Karis was it
Karis.
Karis, telling Karis to recite the lines, and him like being in awe by the old priest, just going into this with like pure faith. Like that guy is ready to cross the thing in Last Crusade with his heart over his chest.
Yeah, yeah. And then as they both recite, "The power of Christ
Christ
compels you.
compels
The
you.
power
The
of
power
Christ
of Christ
compels you."
compels you.
Yeah,
It just
it's a very man. Such an accurate portrayal of what happens when I see a Seattle Seahawks logo.
I'm not gonna
The
say no
power
offense
of
to Seattle
damn it.
Seahawks fans because like I've already pissed off a lot of people. So just by saying I don't like this movie, I don't like the that one episode of Arcane. But anyways, oh my gosh. Shit.
but yeah, fuck the Seahawks, everybody. Fuck the Seahawks.
I
Uh,
would rather not. I'm straight.
okay, not
Anyway.
literally, but you know what I mean.
Okay. Oh yeah. Speaking of unintentionally hilarious,
Uh,
the Exorcist voice, the demon's voice when Pazuzu's
mhm.
possessing Reagan, it reminds me of Ghostface. No, not Ghostface. Hang on. I gotta think of a. Is it Ghostface or is it the scary movie Ghostface? I'm trying. Which one does it remind me more of? Because like, hello Sydney. Uh, uh, they kind of sound similar. Just the scary movie Ghostface is much more high pitched. I want to say it's both. It reminds me of Ghostface. You know, like it's like, what's your favorite scary movie, Karis?
Yeah, I forget but it was another woman who did the voice for Pazuzu the demon, and I
Really?
believe that when she was recording the voice lines, they had her chain smoking. They had her chain
Really?
smoking. Yeah, and I guess it had a diet of like eggs and something else because they wanted her to have that really raspy demonic voice.
Oh my
So
gosh! You could have just hired a voice actor.
I think she might have been a voice actor, but I don't remember.
Fuck. Did voice actors really do that just so they can voice actors? What they do sometimes is some will eat honey just to get their voice to sound good or whatever. This one actually chain smoked.
Yeah.
And another, I mean, like the only time I ever hear voice actors like doing things themselves, like I think sometimes they can put pressure on their stomach to get like a certain voice, like I'm doing right now. And another thing is like sometimes they'd pull on their muscles to get this like struggling sound. Right now, viewers, I was just pulling my hands earlier, and now I'm pulling my hands again. Like they do that to sound struggling. And this woman just like smokes like chain smoker. I've never smoked before. I've never chain smoked. I've never vaped. So I don't. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, like smokers in the audience. I'm not fun, but like this woman just like chain smoked and went on a diet of eggs. And personally, I would have gone on a diet of green apples because I've tried every time I've recorded something and I hear like the saliva stuff. I'd make sure to like eat a green apple. But mad respect at the same time. Was this the director's doing? Like, did he literally go to the voice actor like, all right, start chain smoking, but my health slap? Like, did he do that?
I mean, I don't think he slapped her, but to be
Because
honest,
like,
I don't exactly remember. I would imagine it was probably at Friedkin's direction, but I don't know that for sure, so don't quote me on that.
oh my gosh, yeah. Because like, I mean, I'm just imagining because since I've already learned he'd fire guns in the air and everything, he'd just. I'm wondering if he made that woman do that again. I didn't do too much. I did like the bare minimum of research for this movie. Like I know I didn't look too much into production because we kind of just covered it in our like trouble production episode, which I really love by the way. And um, what was I gonna say? I just kind of feel like we kind of covered everything on the behind on the trouble productions episode.
We
But
really only covered a little bit of it, to be perfectly
oh
honest.
shoot,
Because something that we didn't mention in that episode was this movie actually had a some trouble in pre-production, specifically with casting.
oh,
Um, because the studio wanted a lot of like big name actors for these roles,
hmm,
but William Friedkin was like, nah, I want to hire lesser known actors because I want it to be, you know, because the example he gave, so the studio initially, I believe, for the part of Father Marin, the old priest.
mm-hmm.
So the actor is Max von Sydow, is the actor in the movie, but the studio originally wanted Marlon Brando for that role,
Oh
but
boy,
William Friedkin was against it because it's like I don't want this movie to become a Marlon Brando movie. I want this to be a movie where it's like you want to notice the characters, not the actors, if that makes
that makes
sense.
sense. Also, Marlon
Yeah.
Brando's infamously hard to work with, but at the same time, considering how crazy the director was, I would have loved to see those two go head to head with each other. Like, imagine if we fired a gun in the air. How would Marlon Brando react? Also,
I will say though, as well as crazy as William Freakin was on set, a lot of the actors have said that they um, have said like very very positive things about William Freakin for the most part.
well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
As long as it all came out good in the end, and William Friedkin was.
and William Friedkin, because like all the actors, they did say, mostly positive thoughts about William Friedkin as a
Yeah,
person. But they all something interesting to know is that William Friedkin is The Exorcist seems to be the movie that he was most proud of. It is in his
really.
filmography. I even saw this interview where he even described it as like his perfect film, basically.
That is
Like
insane.
he was really proud of The Exorcist, and he also famously despised all of the Exorcist sequels.
Oh, I saw that video you sent me. He's like, yeah, he really did not like the sequels.
Oh, and I bought so William Freakin unfortunately passed away a few years ago, back in 2023.
Oh, rest in peace.
About 2 or 3 weeks before The Exorcist Believer came out, which is at the time the most recent movie in that series.
Oh my gosh.
But there's actually a fairly infamous quote attributed to him around the time that that movie was announced. So the they got David Gordon Green to direct The Exorcist Believer. So
Yeah.
David Gordon Green, he's the one who did the recent Halloween movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so, man, I've got to find the quote that from William Friedkin, because it is a legendary quote. uh,
I'm looking at William
this is
Friedkin's discography, and apparently he directed
filmography.
filmography. I'm
Filmography.
sorry. A- Apparently he di- he. Dir- I need to see if this is true or not, unless IMDb is lying to me. Where is it? Where is it? I think. Oh, yeah. He directed the French Connection. Fuck off, ad.
The French Connection.
Yes, the French Connection. I have I have not seen that movie. I thought for the longest time I thought that was a freaking Paul W.S. Anderson movie. So I'm not all too familiar with William Friedkin's filmography aside from The Exorcist. So I'm just
Okay.
kind of glimpsing at it. I'm like, okay.
Okay. So I found this quote from William Friedkin in regards to the most recent Exorcist movie directed by David Gordon Green. Again,
Mm-hmm.
David Gordon Green did the recent Halloween trilogy. So Halloween 2018, Kills and Ends. All right.
Hmm.
So here's the quote. Apparently, William Friedkin said to a film critic a few years ago, he said, quote, "The guy who
Uh-huh.
made those new Halloween sequels is about to make one to my movie, The Exorcist. That's right. My signature film is about to be extended by the man who made Pineapple Express. I don't want to be around when that happens, but if there's a spirit world, and if I can come back, I plan to possess David Gordon Green and make his life a living hell." End
Oh
quote.
my gosh! Imagine hating someone so much. Like, what if he needed the money? Okay, what if he just needed the money? All right.
And famously, David Gordon Green actually tried to reach out to William Friedkin to see if he'd be like an executive producer or something, but he didn't even respond back. He was just completely ignored him. And even
Aww.
like everybody David Gordon Green tried from who was still alive, who was part of the original Exorcist, basically wanted nothing to do with it. Wanted to do with
But
him or his
David,
movie.
no one wanted. Well, no one wanted to deal with the David Gordon Green Exorcist believer.
Uh huh.
Fucking hell. Well,
And
I really hope.
eventually, they did get Ellen Burstyn to agree to come back, but that was only offering her an obscene amount of money, plus more money to donate to a charity of her choosing.
Good lord. Nobody wanted to make this movie. Why? Good lord. Nobody wanted to make the Exorcist believer. Well, I hope David Gordon Green isn't actually being cursed right now by William Freidkin, because that would be like, imagine making one bad movie and then the guy who dies like decides to ruin your life all because you made a shitty movie. It's like, you could come on, go let him bounce back from this. He can do other things. Oh, I mean, he did make the Halloween sequels, so
Yeah.
I mean, and not that I'm saying he deserved it. I never saw the Halloween sequels. In fact, I the only horror movie sequels I've seen are Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and I guess Zombieland Double Tap, if that counts.
I would say it counts, but
Okay,
I
it's
haven't
more of a
seen the
comedy.
Zombieland movie. I haven't seen either of the Zombieland movies, so I can't comment on that. But,
The
anyways, I figured I would share that quote from William Friedkin just because, one, I respect his honesty, and two,
I did too.
like, this dude fucking hated all of the Exorcist sequels so much. But it's like, I can see why, though, because it's like he's so fiercely proud of the original.
Oh
So,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, and it's
Um,
like, and by the way, The Exorcist is still one of the top grossing movies of all time, even adjusted for inflation. So,
dang, that's impressive. Like
yeah,
R-rated movies or just movies of all time?
just movies of all time.
Okay, because like I thought the highest grossing movie was Avatar.
Well, one of the highest grossing movies. I think
Ah,
it's in like
okay, okay. I
it's
didn't
in
hear
like
one
the
of them.
top. It's in like the top 50. I want to say.
Oh, dang. Ah, cool. Cool. Very, very, very cool. I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something about The Exorcist, and I can't remember. Uh, I kind of like the sound design. I think the sound design is nice.
Oh, I think the sound design is superb, especially that like in terms of like the score. That
Oh
main
yeah.
theme I think is really good. Yeah, it's a little overplayed, especially around Halloween time, but it's really good.
I forget. I keep mistaking it for other horror movie themes.
I mean, it is one of the more famous ones. I mean, The Exorcist is one of the more famous horror movies, so obviously
Hmm.
its main theme is gonna be famous.
Yeah. Yeah. Personally, my favorite like horror movie theme is probably I guess either Saw or Halloween. But
Mine would
yeah.
probably be the Halloween theme, but I like this one a lot too.
Hmm. I see. I see. I see. I see it. I see it now. It's always been inside of me. Not the fucking demon. That was a great joke to transition to. I saw the fucking opportunity. Anyways, there was another thing I thought about before going to sound design, but I can't remember it. Let me check my notes real quick. Unless I said everything about it. Yeah, I did take notes for this movie to try and articulate my opinions, but I feel like um yeah, I mean, I kind of said everything about my notes, and I said I can kind of see the film being about faith, but I thought the ending was strange. Like I get it was like kind of atonement, but it just felt I just didn't think it felt right because it felt like it made the whole exorcism pointless, as because like the old priest died of a heart attack and his atonement was getting possessed by Pazuzu and jumping out the window. Which hang on, the beginning of the movie. Actually,
Hmm.
let's go to the beginning of the movie real quickly.
Uh-huh.
The priest discovering Pazuzu, was that like the old priest? That was the old priest in the beginning of the movie, right?
Yeah,
Was this trying to establish some kind of mysterious backstory lore on Pazuzu, the demon that possesses Reagan?
a little bit. Yeah, it's also to kind of show the backstory on Father Marin
Ah,
because it's established that he's done an exorcism before.
hmm. Yeah, I
That's
knew
well,
that,
that's
but
why
I
that's why the church brings him to Karis when he's like, "Hey, I want to do an exorcism on this girl." That's
mhm.
why they reach out to him because he's done an exorcism before. He's one of the few people, I guess, alive that has done an exorcism before.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if this is in your cut or my cut, but like, there's a scene where they're going. I don't know if it's Karis or another character going to Reagan's room, but you see like flashes of the demon. You see flashes of Pazuzu.
Yes, that was in my cut. I'm pretty sure.
Ah. That was
You kind
that
of
was
you
kind of
kind of you kind of see flashes of Pazuzu like in general in multiple points throughout the movie,
uh,
which personally I really liked.
I thought it was kind of interesting, just kind of signaling his presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the version that you watched,
Huh?
was there the scene? Because I know there's a scene where Marin and Karis are talking about something on the stairs in between possessions, in between
Mm-hmm.
different points in the exorcism in the climax.
Yeah.
Was that in
Yeah.
your cut?
Which characters we're talking again?
Marin, the old priest, and Karis as they're sitting on the stairs.
Yes, that was in my cut. That was in the cut.
That was not in the original theatrical version.
Hmm.
In
Again,
fact,
this is the only version my library had. Unless you
okay.
want me to pirate it, I decided to go to my local library.
So that scene was cut from the movie, and I actually agree with it being cut because William Freidkin was like, okay, this scene is literally just explaining what the movie is about. I feel
Yeah.
like William Freidkin thinks that that sort of that scene was redundant because those themes that are explained in that scene are present throughout the whole film, and it's something that the audience can just sort of figure out.
Mm-hmm.
It also
Yeah,
slows the movie down a little bit.
it was utterly pointless. I don't know if watching the theatrical version would have made my experience better. I'm gonna be honest with you, but yeah, some there were a few scenes that did feel kind of somewhat pointless in the eccentric cut I watched, which it didn't come with the theatrical release. It didn't come with the theatrical version either. Like I thought I have the option to go to the theatrical version, but no, I don't. I don't. It
Yeah,
sucks,
I
which
also,
because
I
I have
also,
the A Team unrated, and that came with the theatrical version as well. What gives?
that's very strange. And also, too, this particular theatrical cut I watched
Uh huh.
also included an introduction by William Friedkin that I
That's
guess
super cool.
yeah, that I guess was recorded for one of the early DVD releases.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the aspect ratio is really narrow and it's clearly from like 20 years ago.
Uh huh.
But and he also mentions that it's like, yeah, this movie's been scaring people for 25 years, and I'm just like, it's 2026. This movie's been out for 50 years. Uh, anyways,
Yeah.
so he talks about something. He said so that introduction, it was very short. It was only like a minute long, but he said something that kind of stuck out to me. He said that if you go into the movie believing that the world is a terrible, dark place, you're going to come out of this movie with those beliefs reinforced. However, if you go into the movie thinking that the world is a good place and that good triumphs over evil, those beliefs will be reinforced by this movie when you come out of this movie.
Huh. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting preamble.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. Oh. So I remember there was like a commercial about the Exorcist like re-release or something, and for some reason you can find it at IMDb. They call it the Exorcist for some reason, or at least the last time I watched it, they said like the Exorcist. I'm like, that is not how you say the fucking name of the movie, dummy.
It's Exorcist, clearly.
Oh yeah. Also, another thing to drag this out further. A big
Mhm.
shout out to my old boss from my old job. The newspaper job. She actually went to Washington D.C. because she had the Exorcist book, and she took a photo of the stairs where the final scene took place at. And I didn't see the
Yeah.
Exorcist at the time, so I didn't join them for the trek. Plus I went to go eat. Plus they while I was like busy in my hotel, they kind of left me behind. I'm like, well, what the hell, guys? So I just stayed behind and bought myself a salad for dinner while they got to go to a freaking famous movie location. But hey, if I ever go to New York City, I'm definitely visiting the Joker stairs for what
All
it's
right.
worth. But yeah, shout out to my boss for visiting the Exorcist stairs. But I apologize to my boss for not enjoying The Exorcist as much as everybody else. Yeah, you got that's a little trivia. Oh yeah. Also, my first exposure to this movie was the 30 Second Bunnies parody.
All right. Okay, so I got another question to ask you.
Let's hear it.
Wh- Which which performance do you think stood out to you?
Probably the old priest and Reagan.
Okay. Yeah, I think the entire cast does a great job here. I'm glad that they
Oh
decided to
yeah.
go with unknown actors instead of, Marlon Brando. No disrespect to Marlon Brando,
Oh
but
yeah.
you know,
Except on Island Doctor Moreau, but no disrespect to Doctor Moreau, to freaking Marlon Brando beside that. Anyways, but yeah, what you said, I think going with unknown actors was a great choice because it was a gamble that paid off. Everyone did so great. As much as I liked Reagan and the old priest, everyone did well, even the actor for Karras.
funny story about the actor who played Karras.
What's
So
up,
that's Jason Miller is the guy's name, and
Jason Miller?
yeah, so interestingly enough, one of the sort of casting issues they had early on was they originally cast somebody else in the role, like
Mm-hmm.
signed contracts and everything. The thing was William Friedkin saw Jason Miller in a play called That Championship Season, and I think that's a play that Jason Miller himself wrote. And
Mm.
William Friedkin was like, "Ah, this guy would make a really good Father Karras." So they arranged a meeting, and apparently it didn't go well. So they were like, "All right, we'll just go with the guy we already have." But then a couple days later, Jason Miller called William Friedkin and was like, "Hey, I read the book that we were talking about, The Exorcist. Yeah, I feel like I'm that exorcist. That guy is me." And William Friedkin was like, "Look, okay, look, I appreciate your interest, but we already signed another actor." And Jason Miller was like, "I'm telling you, that guy is me. That guy is me." He's like,
He's
"Look, we signed
literally
another. We
me.
signed." It's like, and William Friedkin was like, "Dude, we already signed another actor." And he was like, "Will you at least do a screen test with me?" And William Friedkin eventually was like, "All right, fine." So they did a screen test, and then William Friedkin was like, "All right, you got the part. That was really good."
Yay!
and
Honestly, yeah, I'm glad they went with I'm glad they went with that actor. He did pretty good. I like his
yeah,
response. He's literally me. That's so fun.
and
But
uh,
that's so fun.
and
That's actually really cool.
and a similar sort of thing happened with Ellen Burstyn, who played Chris McNeil.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she
Chris.
wanted the role. She even called William Friedkin one time where they were still casting, and she was like, "Playing Chris McNeil is my destiny." That's an actual quote
Wow.
from her. And so, and William Friedkin was like, "All right, I guess they did an audition or a screen test or something." And William Friedkin was like, "All right, you're good. You're Chris McNeil. That's is your role." The problem was they took it to the studio, to the guy running Warner Brothers Studio at the time, and according to what William Friedkin said in his, I want to say, I believe it was a 2013 autobiography he wrote.
Mm-hmm.
According to that book, what he said in that book, the dude who ran Warner Brothers Studio, the moment when William Friedkin suggested Ellen Burstyn for the role, he
Mm-hmm.
apparently flipped out. He was like
Oh.
he was like I'm never giving that lead role to an actor who's never been a lead in anything. And
Oh
apparently
my
he even
gosh.
said that Ellen Burstyn would be the lead in The Exorcist over my dead body. That's what he apparently told William Friedkin.
Oh my
The
gosh.
the issue the issue for him was they couldn't find any other actor.
That's
so
insane.
because like the other actors they did try, like I know they wanted Jane Fonda for the role, but she declined. They also wanted Audrey Hepburn for the role. She also declined because I guess she was living in Rome at the time, and
Mm.
so she said no. So it was like all the actors they wanted said no. Um, and so the studio had no other options besides Ellen Burstyn, so the studio had to reluctantly approve her. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, if I was William Freakin in that meeting, I'd be like, dude, chill out.
I
Dude,
would
fucking
too. It's like
chill.
what do you got against this? What do you got against this woman?
yeah. Ugh. And
That's
also
insane.
for the role of Reagan, they auditioned like well over 100 young girls for the role,
Dang.
including somebody who I guess tried to book an audition was a 13-year-old Jamie Lee Curtis.
Wait, Jamie Lee Curtis,
Yes,
the woman who would eventually go on to play what's her name from Halloween.
Lori. Yeah,
Wow.
the reason that they didn't that she, I guess, couldn't audition was because her mother, um, Janet Lee, who is her mother, uh, said no. So
That is
yeah,
crazy. That's wild. Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, she's already a horror icon because of the Halloween movies,
yeah.
but now she could have been even a bigger one if she got the role of the Exorcist. But honestly, I'm still glad they picked Brenda Lee. Was it Brenda? What's her
Linda
name?
Blair.
Linda Blair. Oh my goodness, the lettering. Linda Blair. Linda Blair. I think Linda Blair did a fine job, and for what it's worth, as much as I didn't like the movie, the casting was perfect. The casting was perfect.
Yeah, although it would be
I mean, I didn't
interesting.
hate this. Yeah, just yeah.
Yeah, yeah, young Jamie Lee Curtis, that role could have been interesting because I mean, think about it. Her mother is already a horror icon, and now so was she.
Oh, what did her mother do?
I literally just said that her mother is Janet Lee from Psycho.
From oh, derp.
Yeah.
Jane, yeah, that wasn't the one that was murdered in Psycho, was it? It's been forever since I
Yeah,
last saw
the
Psycho.
shower scene. Yeah,
Oh
she's the mother
yeah.
of Jamie Lee Curtis. Did you not know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, fun
I did
trivia
not.
for all of you.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Super rad, as the Aquabats would say.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so,
Um,
what shots from this movie stood out to you?
what shots?
Yeah.
Probably Reagan being bounced around on the bed because Reagan being bounced around the bed. Probably when she comes downstairs and just disturbs the guest on the piano. Um, what else? Again, the her floating, the entire exorcism scene was awesome, especially her floating up while everyone's going, "The power of Christ compels
Mm-hmm.
you. The power of Christ
Mm-hmm.
compels you." Um, there was also um, that's about it, really.
What did you think of the? Do you know what we haven't talked about yet? So what
What
we hinted a little bit earlier. What did you think of the opening scene in northern Iraq? The opening scenes in
I
northern
I
Iraq,
didn't like it. I just thought it was pointless.
and why did you think it was pointless?
I mean, I mean, it was okay. Like, I like the idea that they were trying to give a tiny bit of backstory on Pazuzu, but it just, I just didn't care for it. I just you had like only two moments where they implied about the existence of Pazuzu. There was the coin, and then there was the statue, and that scene was just kind of dragged out too long, in my opinion.
I somewhat agree with the could have been shorter part.
Yeah, it could have been shorter.
By the way, fun trivia about that scene. You know they actually filmed that sequence in northern Iraq.
Well, dang, how they get the Pazuzu statue?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what one other shot sticks out to me? You know that scene when I want to say it was one of the other priests as he's coming into the church and
Mm-hmm.
he's setting flowers down and stuff, and he looks and there's that
Oh yeah,
statue. I want
the vandalism.
yeah, yeah, the blood on the I want to say it was the Virgin Mary or something.
That was weird. Like, was that like Pazuzu's doing, or just a bunch of punk kids who thought, "Lol, let's go bash Christianity by like vandalizing a statue."
I'm not really sure to be honest. I personally thought it was Pazuzu's doing.
I
But
mean, I can
the
see
the
that, but
the other explanation you provided could make sense too.
yeah, I mean, I like the idea that maybe it was Pazuzu doing it, like because it could show us the ultimate power of Pazuzu and make him more of a fearful being.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. You got anything else to say about this movie?
Um, Not really, other than that, the Ice Nine Kills song, Communion of the Curse," which is about this movie, is well, technically about the book, is fucking awesome. That's the last thing
I'll
I
have
have
to
to say.
re-listen to that song because I like a freaking every trick in the book, but I need to re-listen to that song. Yeah, we've been going for an hour. We've been talking about it for an hour. Are you ready for the conclusions?
So to conclude my thoughts, I think the movie starts out a little slow. I think me and Nick are kind of in agreement there. I think
Mm-hmm.
the movie starts a little slow, but I think once the possessions and stuff kind of start to happen, I think the movie gets a lot better.
Yeah.
I probably should have mentioned, I do like, as much as I think the parts early on in the movie are a little slow. I do like that they included them because you feel more once you get to know both. When you get to know the McNeils, it makes everything that happens later a bit more powerful because you kind of get to know these
Oh yeah.
characters a bit early
Oh,
on.
you
Having
definitely do that. Yeah.
but having said that, I think they could have sped it up a tiny bit.
Yeah. My general thoughts, my final conclusion. I'm sorry, guys. I could not get into this movie. It's I just couldn't get into it. I'm sorry. I didn't hate it, didn't like it. There's a lot to appreciate about this movie, but I just can't get into it. I just don't recommend it. It's
So
like,
it's
yeah,
one of
it's a
those
classic.
so it's one of those popular films that people love that you don't like.
Unfortunately, yes. I don't hate it. It's just it's like, again, look at the TV tropes page. Seinfeld is unfunny. That's how I feel about this movie. It's like,
I will say though, all the because there have been a lot of like demon possession horror movies that have come out since The Exorcist came out, and so many of
yeah,
them are just blatant ripoffs of The Exorcist. So
yeah.
I do think that in some way has kind of soured the original a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I still think the original is so well made for the most part that it
Yeah.
can kind of
I mean,
overcome that. I think.
the thing is, I never really saw a lot of possession horror, with the exception of maybe like Evil Dead 2, but and I never really saw a lot of possession horror. And I mean, I have yet to see other movies like The Last Exorcism or The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I'm definitely not watching The Devil's Inside. I am definitely not watching that movie. Um, but like, again, like so viewers, there's the thing on TV tropes called Seinfeld is unfunny, and basically it's like, it was good for the time. It was good for the time it came out. It was legendary, but you just like, yeah, it helped. It helped horror a lot. Which, how did this movie impact horror as a genre, Drew? I mean, how did it impact?
Well, for one, this is actually the first horror movie ever to be nominated for Academy Awards.
Oh,
So
cool.
it got people who probably it got film organizations to take horror a bit more seriously.
All right,
And
I can respect that.
this movie also got heavily protested against when it came out.
Yeah, because like the Satanic Panic.
Well, sort of. The Satanic Panic was more of an '80s thing. This is a
Ah,
'70s movie because a lot of like religious people felt that this movie like glorified Satan or whatever.
it
Um,
doesn't.
even Linda Blair, the 12-year-old girl, actually, the movie studio had to hire bodyguards for her because she got death threats from a lot of religious people because they felt that her performance as Reagan glorified, or specifically, what glorified Satan, in their words.
How does torturing a little girl glorify Satan? That makes
I,
Satan look
dude, dude,
bad.
dude, I was thinking about this after watching the movie last night, and it blew my mind because going back to what I said earlier about this movie being a big part about Karras finding his faith again. It's like I generally don't know how the fuck you can look at this. And again, I'm not Christian, I'm not religious. I generally don't know how the fuck you can watch this movie and think to yourself, "Oh my god, this movie's glorifying Satan. He's the bad guy. He's
I
the bad
know.
guy."
Like, this is. Oh my goodness, this
And the
is
fact
not.
that and the fact that the fucking movie studio had to hire bodyguards for a fucking 12-year-old girl, like, man, what does that say about people? Like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Christian too. It never glorified Satan. It made me cheer on the Exorcist. Like, yeah, get that demon out of her. Oh my
Exactly.
gosh.
Like I know it's one of those things that like look, I get there's controversial movies out there, but it's like this is one of
Yeah.
those times where I'm just like, I don't get
It
it.
it's a nothing burger. It's a
Exactly.
complete nothing burger.
Exactly. You all those people were just stupid. I don't know
I
what else to
know.
say.
But yeah, I respect The Exorcist for getting more people to take horror seriously, but I just can't get into it. I can't get into Exorcist, man.
Well, all right.
And yeah, this has been another exciting episode of the Movie Morris podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, give it a thumbs up. Dislike if you dislike it. Comment down below. Will you follow this episode? Will you follow this movie? Or just want to talk about random things in general? Follow the socials wherever they're linked. And we'll see you all in the next episode. And God bless you.